Hi everybody, John Swift live here. I'm a little sleepy from the trip. I always get sleepy riding in the car. I wonder if you can guess where we are today, possibly, by looking at this fence and this kind of historic looking area with all the palm trees, which a lot of times you see in an area that's a little bit older. Well, I'll give you a hint. We're at the Edison Ford Estates in Fort Myers, Florida. Doing some reading down here, I read that Thomas Edison's main place was in was not in Fort Myers. It was in New Jersey, and then bought this winter place in the 1800s. I assumed that he could work through the winter or without it being too cold or something. I don't know. I'm not really up with the whole history of it, why. But also Ford bought a place, and this, I guess this side of the road is the Edison side, and I'm just making an assumption that this side is the Ford side. Really nice, neat looking area. Obviously they've kept it up really well. And here's the front gates here with the historic sign. 1885, Thomas Edison came to Fort Myers. He built his winter home in 86 and built a second home and a laboratory. So we're gonna go in and check this out. Seems like a really nice place. We haven't went in yet, so come with us and find out what there is to see in this historic area.
Filed a patent every year for 65 consecutive years. Before you begin, please take a moment to become...
So we're here on one of the estates. I'm not sure which house we're by, but this tree is really interesting looking. If you look at the root system, I've never seen anything like that. It says it's a woolly fig tree. I don't think I've ever heard of that. It says it comes from the Asian area. But look at these roots, how weird they are. It's almost like a Grand Canyon of trees with these roots that snake out, really kind of odd. I've never seen anything like that. Wow. So we're out in the Moonlight Garden right here, and this is right next to his study, which is right here, this little building. And I guess that's where he did his studying, apparently. We'll take a little peek inside here. See if we can get a good shot of that. You can see there's a desk there and a lot of bottles of some kind of chemicals and some little chairs here. And you see there's like two doors right across, because probably they didn't have air conditioning. Oh, of course they didn't have air conditioning. It was like 1910 or something. So they had a nice little breezeway, looks like, from one side of the building to the other. And it looks like he had a little fireplace there. Take a little walk around. I have a feeling that these clear plastic window covers are not original. Just a funny feeling. This building's really nice and well kept. He's got a fish on the wall over there. The classic mounted fish with some books, a phonograph, some kind of phonograph thing I can't really see from here, and a typewriter. Let's see over there. And a nice little fireplace. Really cool. We'll back up and get a wide shot of the place here, so you can see the whole really nice little building. I wonder if Edison did any architectural work, since he was such a Renaissance guy. He could probably do anything, being as smart as he was. This his main house is right here, and I guess his study was off to here, and I guess it was like a nice little, maybe he had a separate building so he could feel like he wasn't at home or something. He could feel like he was at the office. I'm just gesticulating or whatever. But all these buildings are very well taken care of, as well as all the plants and everything too in this place. We'll go over and there's some kind of pool over here, interesting looking pool. Go check that out. We're out on the his pool complex, it calls it. Apparently he made a big deal out of having a lot of water storage and water pumps and wells and everything, but who also know that Thomas Edison was kind of a party animal, and he had quite the nice deck with all the decorative pool house here, where everybody could get changed before they get drunk and fall in pool. And then he had this really cool looking, partly above ground pool. Who knows how, you know, I have no idea when they invented the pool. if there was somebody who invented the pool, but this is a pretty cool setup. I guess I don't know if they had like chairs up here, but they have little lights up here, and part of this is blocked off. But you can see if you look through, there's actually a high dive right there. There's actually a low dive and a high dive down there at the end of the pool, right there. And then there's the high dive. Can you imagine Thomas Edison jumping off the high dive into the pool? I wonder how deep it was, because from here it looks like it's about 3 or 4 feet deep. So I wonder if anybody got hurt there. You never know about these intellectual types that are inventors. You just never know that they were actually very, they worked hard, but they played hard too. So right now I'm in the caretakers house, which I guess was in an existing building when he bought the property. And it's got a lot of these info type things that's showing some old photographs. And it's saying, besides Edison, doing his thing with the light bulbs and the phonograph and the microphone, was working together with Henry Ford and the Firestone guy to test plants to find a source of rubber which could be grown in Florida. And they wanted to produce a certain amount of rubber, and I'm assuming it was for tires. I'm trying to read, and it was the plant that they got apparently was goldenrod. It's got a whole lot of information about but you think of Thomas Edison just as a light bulb guy or a phonograph guy or a microphone guy, but he did invent a lot of stuff, and Henry Ford just as a car guy. But they were also trying to do manufacturing, and from the little bit of reading that I did, it seems like they were also trying to get into the rubber business, because a lot of the rubber was domestic and they wanted to get a source of rubber that was probably cheaper, of course. Here's a picture of Edison and Ford. I don't know who the other guys are, but there's kind of a neat photograph of all the, I would call them geniuses, or what would you call them? People that would really pave the way for modern industrial. Just a lot of photographs of, not sure who that gentleman is, but interesting. Somebody told me before the bridges were in, they did a lot of boating to this part of Fort Myers, since there is a river right here. And I don't think they had a lot of stuff to do around here, so they were always trying to find something interesting to do, since it was the turn of the century. New bridge. This says this is a dedication of the bridge in Fort Myers. I think it's the Caloosahatchee is what this is, the Caloosahatchee River. Here's the porch out here. Oh, it's very blue. So this was, I guess, the caretaker's place, which isn't all that small, actually, for a caretaker's place. Really nice little area. I mean, staff only. I was going to say the house isn't that small comparatively to my house. but still pretty good size. They have a lot of garage areas over here too. We can go take a look at that. Right here behind me, we have this caretakers building, and you notice it looks like there's a lot of garage doors here. I'm not really sure what that's about, because I think when you go inside you don't go into that area, but it does look like there was several cars maybe. But you know, I don't know when the whole car thing got started around here. If I haven't read if Henry Ford brought his cars down here and was driving around, because it was primarily a cattle area. I just think it's interesting that there's all these doors that look like they would belong to a garage, and they're surprisingly short too. But just a little look around the side of the caretaker's place, which is a nice little house actually. Okay, so this is a funny little tidbit I just learned. Okay, so here's a little generator that's off the property, and apparently he had a generator, and according to this little sign here, it said that he had a battery powered boat. Wouldn't you know, he was one of the first green people to have a battery powered boat, and the generator actually charged up the boat. He ran it down to the water and would charge up the boat. Funny. He was going green before green was green, isn't that? That's pretty cool, huh? So according to this information, this section of it, this pier right out here, had a boathouse and a summer house out there. It's not real descriptive about. You can see it extends pretty far out there. Well, maybe not from a video, but it does go quite a ways out there. But pretty nice. You know, I went to the website before I came out here, and I didn't have any idea that there was a lot of stuff on this estate. There's a nice little decorative bridge here that goes out. I'm just assuming they had to tear down the summer house because something happened to it. The salt water got to it or something like that. But this is a really nice layout. You know, where I am in Sarasota, a lot is made about the Ringling estate, how great that was. But you know, this is just as interesting, with all the little laboratories. And we haven't even went to the laboratory yet, but all the little buildings and the fountains and the gardens. He had just as nice a place, I think. The house isn't as big, but still, I think the beauty of the gardens and everything was just as cool, with the pool and everything. I don't think John Ringling had a pool that I know about. That's apparently the library area. I don't think they don't let you walk in a lot of the house areas because, of course, it's going to wear out flooring and all that. But check out this neat staircase. I don't even know where this goes. Maybe you can go up here. Look at these miniature little doors. These doors aren't much taller than I am. Small. I wonder if those are like closets originally. I think they're like a fire system. They probably had to retrofit. I guess you can't go up here. There must be a porch up here or something. Up this little stairway. But you think you've seen all the kind of old cracker style building, and then you come in a place like this, and I'm sure Edison had a very creative mind, and well, he had like a separate house here, and then across the way was the Edison bedroom, which is kind of a separate piece, which is different from a lot of the houses in here. You can see the bathrooms in the back there. There's a sink back there. The old style sink. Pretty simple for the most part. Lots of fans. Of course, they didn't have any air conditioning, and it looks like they have a little closet right over there. And reminds me of my grandparents. Actually, smells like my grandparents' house. Reminds me. 2 single beds over. I wonder if any of this stuff's original. 2 single beds there, and Looks like there's a day bed over there and some chairs. All I can think of, it was probably hot, because actually today is a very hot day. I can feel living back in those times and walking in and not being able to cool off because it's just as hot inside as it was outside. But here's they call this the den, which I think they would call an office. Wow, there's some music in there too. Maybe some 1920s or 30s music. Cool little desk here. I'm an antique type of person. I always think that's neat when they have all the interesting stuff on the desk there. Looks like he's got a little bathroom in the side here. Look at those picture hangers. I don't know if you can see that, but the pictures are actually hung from the top of the window there, right up here. They're actually hanging as opposed to. Now I have no idea why they do it. But look at that light bulb too. This light bulb looks like a light bulb that they would use back in the old days. Really tall. If you can kind of notice, there's a doorway here and there's a doorway here, as well as this doorway here, which I think was to get maximum airflow through the house. So in the summers you can open it all up and try to get as much air. So there's also a doorway here too. Trying to get as much air through the house as possible. Otherwise you'd be, without any wind, you'd be really sweating. Kind of interesting, these light bulbs, they found some light bulbs that were very similar to the period there. Those long light bulbs. That's kind of interesting. I think you can actually buy those today. And also you can see these pictures over here also have those the strings holding the pictures up to the wall. I wonder why that is. Can anybody leave a comment why that is?
I would have to open the house if I had private ground like this.
So this was the main house here, and it had kind of a little trellis walkway over to the guest house, which is about 100 feet over here. Very nice guest house too. The guest house is about the size of one of a normal size house probably over here. I wonder if a lot of these palm trees were original, because the palm trees go all the way down here. I wonder if those were original 1920s, 30s palm trees. I don't know.
Yeah, hi. Just want to let you know, right here, closing this side down, there's lightning with.
Unfortunately, we're getting kicked out of here because of the weather. But gonna get a quick shot of some video here. This is Ford's house, which is slightly smaller. Not for any particular reason, but he didn't need a big house, I guess. Here's some cars real quick. Wow, look at that one. This one's got, the whole thing's wood there. The whole, what do you call that, a cab? I don't know if he called these Model Ts. Not gonna have time to read a lot about these, but I just thought I'd kind of scan through here real quick. One of those is a Model T, a 1923 and a 1919 Ford's cars there. The original ones that you see in the old silent movies where they're going through mud and everything. So this is Ford's garage right here. And I wonder if we can walk out that way or we gotta walk out this way, maybe. This is Ford's garage behind me, and here's his house right there. But the guy's driving around in the golf cart, kicking us out, so And apparently Ford had a women's and a men's bathroom in his garage. I'm just kidding. That was a touristy thing. I did want to say a quick thing about this. Is the other side of Edison's main house is over here, and then this is actually the guest house. Can you believe how big the guest house is? A large guest house.
A couple of strikes last year. One of them killed one of his trees.
Wow.
That was one of the ones he planted back in like 06. And actually, it's one of the ones right on McGregor here. Like, pretty good strike.
What kind of tree was it?
Royal palm. One of these royal palms over here.
Do you know if those are original from the time
Some
you
of
lived
them are.
here?
I believe there's 3 or 4 that are original that he planted back in 1906.
And then they've replanted since?
Yeah, the city of Fort Myers, yeah. They started doing that around the 1950s when they really started to plant the royal palms all up and down the street. All right, I can drop you off here.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. Yeah.
Please like and subscribe.
Is anybody doing any official timing to see how long it is to cross the street? There it is. They have a 90-second timer to cross the street, I guess. Since there's so many people crossing out here, you have to wait till the crossing thing starts chirping like a bird. So now we're crossing.